Kevin, this is the part of the show that every week I ask my guest, if you were a politician, what 3 things you would do to grow jobs in the economy. Kevin, you have the floor. What would you do?
Well, my overarching concern has to do with um, wanting to get the government out of the way of innovation and success in society. The 3 things I like to see the government do would be stop the digging, balance budget, stop spending everybody, our children's and their children's future away with these massive deficit spending. I'd like to see tax reform. Um, there are more people working in Revenue Canada than we have in the Canadian Armed Forces. That's a crazy disparity. The taxes are so complicated, you have to hire people. And my wife's an accountant, so I'm speaking against my own interests. Tax reform really would be an important move as well. And then I think a key fundamental driver to all of these problems is the education system. I would clean out and overhaul the education system, get back to the basics, and allow for private schools, charter schools, and whatnot. I think that would make a big difference.
So, Kevin, and I think those are all great things that we need to do. Your prediction for the economy over the next year?
Well, the signals are all moving in a bad direction. Even President of the Bank of Canada is calling for a hard landing. An awful lot of the job creation success, so-called success that's come in the economy, has come from government. So I'm concerned that we're going to see high inflation and poor job creation. So we could see a period of stagnation, and that's going to be tough on the economy.
And certainly we're going to see headwinds both on at the federal and provincial level, as well as the municipal level. In your opinion, what do you think is the biggest threat to the Canadian economy?
The biggest threat to the Canadian, well, there's internal threats and external threats. Fundamentally, I believe governments who continue to spend well beyond their means forever are a problem. Especially with increasing interest rates. We are at the beginnings of re-experiencing what we did in the 90s after the profligate 70s and 80s, and the chickens came home to roost in the 90s with massive cuts in services. I think people are going to have to prepare themselves in the near to distant future that there's going to have to be a rebalancing and a tightening of government spending, because taxpayers get fed up, governments run out of the money, and the only thing they can end up doing is cutting the services.
Absolutely. Now, that's an internal threat. You mentioned external threat. What would you see as an external threat to the Canadian economy?
Well, I mean, the global security problem with the war in Ukraine, China and Russia as evil actors, plus Iran constantly on the attack economically, these types of challenges put crimps on our supply chains. That increases costs of goods and services. I mean, not to mention the fact we need to spend more on national defense. I think those evil actors internationally are going to put pressure on us that we haven't seen for the last 30 years. Go back to, when I was younger. You're probably too young to know this. During the Cold War, when we had those experiences, I think we're going to see those types of economic challenges as a result of international pressures again.
Well, Kevin, I think I'm older than you, so I remember those well. But thank you for saying that. We got about a minute left. Kevin, what in terms of political policy at any level keeps you up at night? And we just got a minute left.
Yeah, look, I think we have a cultural problem in Western society. I think we knew somehow society's moved away from personal responsibility and self-reliance, and we've moved towards these collectivist goals. And until we push back, society pushes back on this move towards collectivism and a return to personal responsibility. I mean, these are the fundamental underpinnings that if we don't change that value system, this is what drives governments and individuals and politicians to spend other people's money and tell other people what to do and ban things. And I think that's culturally a problem that underpins all of our politics.
I agree 100%. That keeps me up at night, too. Thank you, Kevin, for taking the time to share your thoughts on the economy and what we're going to see in store for the future. Love to have you back again another time.
Thanks, Jocelyn.